Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Nurul Najiha binti Faisal together with my group mates Shadia Hanan binti Mak Yusof and Alia Jasmine binti Muhammad Rafi are going to present our presentation on coursework task 2, which is the critical reflection about the lesson plan that we have created for the task 1. Okay, so basically for this presentation, it will include the input. The input is basically about the SWOT analysis on the lesson, which are the strength, weaknesses, opportunity, and threats. And it also have the reflection on the implementation, the designing process of the lesson, and also the issue related to the current curriculum system. Okay, so the first part is SWOT analysis. SWOT is strength, weaknesses, opportunities and threat of the lesson, which will be presented by me myself. I am Nurul Najiha binti Faisal, D12080800677. Alright. So before I go further on the SWOT analysis, I would like to give a brief information about the lesson. Basically, the lesson is for English subject and for year 3 students, and the objective for this lesson is for the student to be able to learn about the solar system. However, instead of just the solar system, the student also will learn about the superlative adjective during the lesson that will be presented and discussed more briefly later. Okay, so the first part is the strengths of the lesson. So I have listed 4 strengths of the lessons, which are the first one, the lesson includes many English skills, which are listening, reading, speaking, and also grammar. So this is the very important part because it is an advantage in one lesson, in just one lesson, it already includes all the almost all the skills in English subject. Okay, so for listening, reading, speaking, and grammar, I will explain about the activity later. Okay, so basically, listening part is very important for the students to be able to. It will train the student to be more focused about the lesson because when we tell the student listen to this video, for example, so the student will listen, or else they will be left. Okay, they can't follow the lesson because they didn't get the idea, the information from the movie. So when you ask the student to listen to listen to the soundtrack or the movie or whatever, they will be ready and it will help them to be more focused. Okay, so for reading it will help the student to what we call that understand and memorize the lesson better, because when the students read, they will uh, remember about that information better. And then speaking, the best part of speaking, the important part of speaking is when the students speak, the best advantage is they will learn on how to pronounce the words correctly. Okay, and the last part is the grammar. This is one of the important aspects in English subject. Okay, so the second part is the application of the interactive materials in the lesson. So if you can see at the picture, here, the first picture is the flashcard. The flashcard is made online, and then we also have a movie to be watched by the students, and we also have the game. At the end of the lesson, to conclude the lesson, we provide games, puzzle and online questions for the students. So these are all the interactive materials because it is colorful, it has shapes, it is attractive, and it will catch the students' attention. And the third point, it is almost the same with the second point, which is interesting and attractive evaluation exercises. So for this lesson, we provide two interactive exercises at the end of the lesson, which are the first one quiz, online quiz, and the second one, you can see at the third picture on the slide, we have online puzzle. Okay, so these attractive and interesting exercises will help to gain the students' mood to answer the questions rather than the traditional method. We just give the student worksheet, so it may be normal to the students. So when we give them these interactive exercises, the students are more likely to answer the question. Okay, so this will help us to evaluate them. Okay, the last point here is online materials. So all the materials for the lesson is can be spread online, and it can be accessed easily anytime and anywhere. So especially in this COVID pandemic, when the teacher gives the slide, the PowerPoint slides, the link of the quiz, the link of the video, the students can access the materials anytime they prefer. It is not just limited to the school hours, because we understand that sometimes the parents is working during the school hours, so it will help the student to catch the lesson, and it will not make them to be isolated or left. Okay, okay, next part is, okay, so here is the example of the lesson. That I take this slide from the slideshow of the lesson. For this slide, the student will learn to read. Okay, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune are the coldest planets. Okay, so from just one slide, student will learn to read, to speak, and also will learn about the grammatical aspect. Okay, so this one is the coldest. We have superlative adjective here, and we also have the name of the planet, which is the main objective of the lesson. Okay, and it's colorful. We also have examples. Okay, we also have examples here. Examples are given, so it is interesting for the students. Okay, the next part is the weaknesses of the lesson. Okay, so basically, after the analysis made, I found that for the upper class, the higher class students, they can catch up with the lesson that have many input to learn in just one class. For example, they can memorize the what we call that the name of the planets. They can understand about the superlative adjective well during just one class. But for the lower class students, as I teach the Aborigine students, I understand that they need more time to just understand a simple lesson. So it will not be uh, what we call that settled. The lesson that have been planned cannot be settled in just one class for the lower class student, because it has to many input. So the student have to memorize the name of the planet, have to understand the name of the planet. They have to understand about the superlative adjective, the criteria of the superlative adjective, and then they have to answer the question. So it may be hard for them. So this is the weakness of the one of the weaknesses of the lesson. And the second one is need data connection, because when it is online, obviously data is the most important element, because without data, internet connection, they can't access to the materials unless the materials is being used in the classroom and being prepared by the teacher. Okay, so these are two of the weaknesses of the lesson. Now we are going to move on to the opportunities of the lesson. Okay, so the first opportunities is the collaboration with another subject. What I mean here is, even though this subject is this lesson is for English subject, but then we can see that they also learn about the planet. They have Jupiter, Uranus. Okay, so it's the planet is actually teach in science subject. So when they have the collaboration of the subjects they learn, they will so they will learn more about the knowledge in just one lesson, and it is also what we call that, it meet the criteria that have been introduced by our Ministry of Education with the current lesson format that need us to collaborate with another subject. Okay, what we call that, yes, KMR lesson plan. Okay, so we collaborate two subjects or three subjects in one lesson. Okay, and then the second opportunities is the students will learn on how to use devices, because some of the students does not like to use gadget. They prefer the traditional method. But living in our country and a fast developed country nowadays, we can't run from having to learn about the devices, because it will be needed later in for example during our working time. Okay, so from the school, they have already learned on how to use the devices such as the laptop, the phone in a good way, because they have to what we call that, they have to um, access to the lesson, to answer the question, to watch the movie, to look at the flashcards. Okay, so they have to learn on how to use the devices and how to access to the links given by the teachers, and they will help them to develop them to be an technologist expert one day. And the last part for me is the thread of the lesson. Okay, so the thread of the lesson here, I just list one, which I found that because I found that the lesson is actually is already good, but one thread that I can think of is lack of devices and person who expert in this field. Okay, so for this lesson, because it is prepared online using interactive online materials, so it is worrisome for some class or some lesson to be done using this material, because not all of the teachers are good in using the what we call that, the materials, the online materials, the devices, because some of them is already long in this education line, and they prefer to use the traditional method. And lack of device, for some schools, I don't think every school is well equipped with the computers, with the internet data, with the laptop, and the LCD, for example. So it is it needed to be looked back, because sometimes if the school have the computer but not all of them can be used, so it can be a threat for the lesson, because if we don't have the well equipped materials and the person in charge for this lesson can't be done this lesson can't be done well and successfully, and it can't the objective of the lesson can be achieved. So I think that's all for my parts of the analysis of the lesson, which includes the strength, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threat. So this analysis can be looked back for all of us to improve our lesson later. Therefore, the next part of the discussion will touch on the reflection of the implementation, designing process, and others, and also the issue related to the current curriculum system that are happening now.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good day. I am Shadia Hanan binti Mat Yusof and I'm going to continue on this presentation on reflection, the designing, implementing and evaluating. So basically, my part I will present on the reflection and focusing on these three items here. Okay. Okay, let's move on to the first part, designing. So while designing the lesson plan, first is about the target pupils. So in this lesson, the target of the pupils is on year 3 pupils of STKC Kihwa. So the second thing is about the topic. The topic is about topic 10, world around us, where there is a subtopic in which is the solar system. Why I choose this topic is because I think that the topic is interesting. My students mostly comes from the rural area where they have less knowledge. They have not much knowledge on the solar system, about the planets and so on. I believe that while introducing this topic to my students, they will feel excited and it will make them feel they will make them to have more information about the solar systems and about the planets and so on. The third one is design. This lesson is designed applicable for both online and face-to-face learning. Where even though I plan it to be in online learning, but teachers can use this in face-to-face environment too. They just need to prepare the materials and the kits in the class, so teachers can do this with the students in the class. And the fourth one is about the skills that we need in this lesson, where it emphasizes on the speaking, reading, listening, grammar, which focus on the superlative and also the writing. Okay, here I think the four things that needs to be considered when I design the lesson plan. Alright, let's move on to the second part, implementing. Okay, all the teaching materials are all being used in this lesson. Okay, what are the teaching materials prepared? First, the pictures, flashcards, online flashcards. Okay, I use Go Conquer, and then videos. I took two songs from the YouTube, and then also the exercise and the games. I provide exercise and games for the students. So I am using online platform via Google Meet in conducting the lesson. So basically, the lesson is divided into three parts: the induction set, the delivery lesson itself, and also the post delivery. So in these three parts, there are three different types of activities given to the students. Alright, the first part of the lesson focus on the speaking, questions and answers, where during this we call it the pre-lesson or the induction set. I provide a few pictures on the astronauts and the Earth. So during this time, I would like the students to give the ideas about what they see, what they understand about uh, of the Earth, what they know about Earth. Uh, Anyone who wants to become an astronaut and why they want to become an astronaut. So for the first part is actually emphasize more on the speaking, where the students have give the ideas on what they think it is all about. So let's towards the second part. Okay, it focuses on the listening and reading as well as the superlative, the grammar part. So listening, okay, first I give them the idea about the solar system by providing them with the song, with the videos from the YouTube. I took it from YouTube, one video from YouTube, and I let them watch first. And so in the video, with the graphics, with the moving graphics and everything, so I hope that they will be they will love the videos and become more interested to further discussing the topic. So by listening the video, hoping that they have an idea about the solar system, how many planets consist in the solar system, what is the biggest stars and everything. And reading, moving to the reading activities. So in reading activities, actually the text is come from, I took from the textbook, and page 98 and 99. I put it in a PowerPoint slide so that they will see the sentence better. Where during that time also, I highlighting the superlative in the sentences so they have an idea what is superlative is all about. So before that, before they start the reading, I'm showing them this flashcards. The flashcards is random. It's choose random. It's not based on the closest planet or the farthest planet. It's a random. It's just want to give them the idea about the solar system itself, what consists in the solar system. So because I believe that my students were like I said before, they are come from the low income family in rural area where they never been shown about the solar system. No one been emphasizes them on the solar system, about the planets and so on. They might have an idea by just watching TV if they do, but most likely they don't. So I hope that by giving this chance to show them about the solar system, they will love English and they will love science too. It is integrated. The solar system, I think, is one of the topic and science subjects. So it's related to each other. So okay, on the final part of the post delivery where I started to give them exercise, it emphasizes on writing itself. So in writing here, they need to answer few questions based on the text, where they need to answer it using the full sentences, using the complete sentences. So by doing this, with guidance of teacher, with guidance of me, the students are able to write the sentence properly. So these are the three parts or the three elements in the lesson itself. Okay, we continue on the final part. Okay, evaluating. This is my final part on evaluating. So during the first part of the lesson, I feel a bit insecure. Insecure in what? Because I saw that only some students are able to attend the class due to internet connection. So because they are living in rural areas, so their access are not quite good. So only some people are able to join the class. But once the lesson start, I feel comfortable because even though the numbers are smaller, but they do actively participate in the discussion in this lesson. At first, okay, students are reluctant to speak at the beginning, but with it, they gain more confidence. Okay, at first, I just ask them without showing any pictures, showing any graphics to them. So they seem lost. So once I introduce them with the pictures, so they become more excited, and they talk more. Next, students love the videos given. So the videos given, because it is like a cartoon song with the cartoons at the age of 9 years old. I think it's suitable for them, so they understand the videos, they get the main ideas of the videos, and this video also make them to comment, to give ideas, to share the ideas and opinions about the solar system. And it does arouse their interest in the topic, the solar system. They are very excited learning this topic. I believe because maybe before this, they don't have much information about this, and this is new for them. So maybe before this they only knew the earth, because earth are where we are all live, but they don't have the idea about the other planets. Okay, towards the end of the lesson, students are started taking part in answering questions. Okay, they answer questions one by one after reading it aloud together. So the reading part, we read aloud. So I start and the students followed what teachers read. So by doing this, I believe that they have more understandings on this text, as the teachers give explanation on that things. Um, but I believe that as a teacher, because this emphasizes on the superlative itself, I should give more explanation on superlative, so that the students get more idea what are the superlative. Maybe in the text there are just only few example of superlative. There are more. So maybe by listing or by make give them more explanation on superlative, they will have a better understanding, and they will get to know more about the superlative. And besides, I learned that I believe that I think I need to create a more open teaching style. So because at first the interactions at the end humanize what had started out to be structured, and it is a dry lesson. I could actually sense that the learning was taking place, and that I was directing that learning. It's not the students who conquer the lessons, but the teachers act more during the lessons. So um, I think I also must also remember to spend more time on explanation and get rid them into the practice activities. Okay, I think after the lesson took place, it will be more effective if it is more effective than reading the story and underline by highlighting or underline the superlative. So I realize more than it is more importance of being flexible when there is a changes in the lessons. When we saw the students are like blur, we might change the styles in conducting the lessons. So the changes may be necessary in for to be the best of lessons plan itself. So I believe teachers need become more flexible. Okay, uh, taste well, not tasting, like judging the students during the lesson. If you think that is if the teachers, like me, if I think that it is a bit dry, the students lose the interest, so the plans can be changed suitable to the students. If the language is quite high, so the teachers might want to elaborate more. The teachers may uh, to give more examples. Maybe, for example, because for example in online classes, okay, there are certain words that students might not understand. Instead of giving the direct translation to them, teachers can uh, show pictures, teachers can show videos and let the students identify what are the meaning of those words. So I think that's all from me, and thank you.
Assalamualaikum and a very good morning. First, I would like to thank you to my colleagues, Shadia, Hanan and Nur Najihah on the detailed explanation of the lesson plan. Before I start on my part, I would like to briefly introduce myself. My name is Alia Jasmine from TSLB2073 and I will be presenting on the issue that is highlighted repeatedly during my colleagues' presentation, which are the issues that teachers, schools, community and students have to go through during online teaching and learning. Alright, my presentation will be divided into four main parts, which are the introduction, curriculum issues during home-based learning, cause of problems or issues, as well as the opportunities and practical solutions to these challenges and issues. To start, let's refresh ourselves with a bit of the pandemic history. Okay, according to Huang and his colleagues, a novel coronavirus known as COVID-19 was discovered in the last month of the year 2019 in a seafood market in Wuhan. Clinical analysis results of the virus showed person-to-person transmission. Later on, the Director General of WHO, World Health Organization, declared COVID-19 as a pandemic after assessment of the rapid spread and severity of the deadly virus across the globe, with announcement social distancing as the means to curb the spread of the pandemic. Hence, we are instructed to maintain social distancing as to curb physical gap and in order to curb the dissemination of the disease. This pandemic has forced global physical closure of businesses, sport activities, and schools by pushing all institutions to migrate to online platforms. So we can say that all fields, okay, are only restricted to online platforms and education sectors are not excluded. Let's see what do we mean by online learning. Okay, as we have here, online learning is the use of internet and some other important technologies to develop materials for educational purposes, instructional delivery and management of program. Okay, there are two types of online learning which we know, which is the synchronous online learning and asynchronous online learning. Okay, and we can see that alright, synchronous means that it refers to the learning event in which a group of participants is engaged at the same time. For example, when we are having Webex session or Google Meet and so on. Okay, if asynchronous learning takes place at the same time, asynchronous learning means the opposite, in which the instructor, learners, and other participants are not engaged in the learning process at the same time. Okay, there is no real-time interaction between or with other people. Okay, for example, would be when the teacher or lecturer giving materials and post it on the Google Classroom for students to do self-learning and complete the task at their own pace. Okay, maybe and many would take a stance of one types of learning over another during e-learning, and those in favor of synchronous learning would say that synchronous learning allows interaction between participants and allows feedback, while at the same time people that asynchronous learning would say that it allows time management and self-pace for the students. Now, moving on to the curriculum issues during online learning. There are many issues, and I had classified the problems into three main ideas, which are the syllabus, the assessment, and the attendance, as we can see from the slides. Okay, as regards the first, as the e-learning had to be started almost immediately without prior knowledge and practices, all parties, especially students and teachers, educators, are struggling to navigate themselves in the new education norm. Many teachers could not address the syllabus accordingly, okay, as we usually taught in face-to-face interaction. Okay, due to this, Okay, KPM had endorsed curriculum alignment to address this issue. However, like English language, due to the simplified version of curriculum alignment, many skills and vocabularies are to be reduced, and we as teachers, our concern is that our students will struggle even more in the years to come, for they are lacking in these skills that should have been covered within these 2 years. Not to mention that teachers require more time to finish a skill or content, for most of the lesson had to be retouched, okay, 2 times due to rotation schedule. Ha. In addition to that, teacher has a lack of behavioral control during online class and could not apply differentiated learning to cater the learning styles of each student due to the time constraint. The next issue is on assessment. Lack of assessment effectiveness had been done during the online PDPR or rotation system due to the unstable attendance and students' learning problems. As if that is not enough, a lot of teachers also claim to be pressured unnecessarily by the higher ups management to tamper with the students' assessment results in order to keep the school or institution or the district positive image in the eyes of the others. This has caused another integrity issues, for there is lack of objectivity and honesty in the line of work. Okay, other than that, it is well informed to us that UPSR had been recently abolished, and due to this, the implementation of school-based assessment is still new and in the adaptation progress. So the teachers are in need of further assistance and guidance in order to execute this successfully. Last but not least, the repetitive issue of attendance, which had been the worry of all parties since the start of MCO. A study conducted by University Kebangsaan Malaysia that has been completed in September this year had shown that up to this moment, the student attendance are still relatively low, by which 24% showed up irregularly. Meanwhile, only 20, Meanwhile, 22% of students had never showed up. This has rounded up to nearly 50%, okay, half of the learners in Malaysia, and this problem should be addressed immediately by all parties to avoid further learning problems in our young generation. As for rotation system, in my experience for about a month now, only half of the students come regularly to the school, and the aborigines mostly avoid coming to school due to the health and safety issues. Now, let's take a look at the challenges and causes of problems before we go on to discuss the possible solutions for these issues. Okay, as regards for number one, it is a fact that students with low socio-economic background will definitely find it difficult to follow online learning since they cannot come to school due to the pandemic. Okay, a research by Fishbane and Homer findings show that as the level of poverty increases in the community, the rate of internet accessibilities decline rapidly, and students with no or low socio-economic power cannot afford broadband connections are most vulnerable to fall behind. Okay, which is very dangerous. Okay, number two, online learning in its entirety is dependent on technological devices and internet, where instructors and students with bad internet connections are liable to be denied access to online learning. Okay, alright, students with outdated technology devices, for example, might find it hard to meet up with some technical requirements of online learning. For example, okay, students with okay, outdated device, they cannot follow a synchronous online learning through social media platform like a YouTube or WhatsApp or Telegram platform. What more, to participate in synchronous lesson through Google Meet, Webex platform, and so on. Okay. Alright, next we can see there are human and pets intrusions as well. Okay, what it means here is the unexpected appearance or interruption of family members, friends, or pets that may cause disruption or diversion of online learning participants' attention during the online teaching and learning process. This, in turn, will usually leads the teacher to have to repeat the lesson over and over again at some point due to lack of focus of these interferences. Alright, moving on. Digital competence refers to the group of skills, knowledge, and attitudes needed when using ICT and digital devices to perform tasks, okay, such as problem solving, information management, collaboration, and many more. Okay, students and instructors with low digital competence are liable to lag behind in online learning. Okay, especially the teachers of the elder generations, where they struggle to conduct class and assessment online, okay, resulting in students falling behind. Okay, not only that, students with technology illiterate parents also falling behind for not knowing how to navigate themselves or help the children through the online platform. Okay, next, another big challenges is assessment and supervision. Okay, this part has two main points. Okay, after instructional delivery, here comes assessment. Okay, in online learning, assessment are often carried out online also, and this is making it impossible to regulate and control cheating. Okay, not only that, the assessment result had been tempered with the help of family members or parents doing the children's tests. These problems tainted the education system on so many levels, and this actually should not happen. Okay, next, in terms of parent supervision, through a study done by University Malaya found that 86% of secondary school students reported studying on their own at least some of the time during the many school closures they faced over the past 1.5 years. The reason for the lack of a system at home could be due to economic distress and livelihood related issues, as respondents revealed that there was a significant loss of family income due to the MCO. Besides having someone guide a student, the success of PDPR partly hinges on having a functional and complementary learning environment at home. Okay, so not only the e-learning itself, but the situation or the background learning, background place to study also plays an important role, because a positive environment, okay, resulting in positive outcome. The next or the seventh challenges would be the heavy workload. Okay, the quick and sudden digital transformation process has huge workload on ICT units from JPN, okay, from KPM, alright, to build e-platforms specifically. Instructors, okay, teachers, lecturers also share part of the workload because we are responsible for transforming our course contents to be e-platform friendly to the learners. This heavy workload has caused many unforeseen financial, time costs, and mental health issues, specifically to the teachers and to the educators. Alright, and last but not least, as for compatibility, okay, what do we mean by compatibility? What I mean here is that not all subjects and contents are compatible to online learning. Online learning, it is important to note that online learning could cater the social science and humanities subjects, but sports science and experimental science are still struggling finding ways to adopt the most effective ways through the online platforms. Okay, the same can be said with co-curriculum, which in nearly 2 years, physical education and co-curricular activities have been set aside and moreover taken lightly, okay, by all parties, by the teachers, the parents, and especially the students at home. However, not everything is bad about e-learning or PDPR. For some, it is a blessing in disguise, for it brings flexibility, interactivity, allowing self-pacing and aligns with global practices. Okay, students, especially the mature and from the medium and high economic backgrounds, prefer online learning for they can learn at more fluid timetable as compared to packed face-to-face learning, and it is also cost efficiency because they don't have to travel to go to the class. Okay, for the face-to-face learning. Alright, next, PDPR offers interactivity in terms of learning and classroom assessment. Alright, students who got to join to participate in the online learning usually had fun doing interactive worksheets and games, and they also have fun got to participate in more creative tempo for quizzes. Okay, and last but not least, online learning aligns with global practices. Okay, in developed countries especially, they had already started these practices, and who would know? I think without the emergence of COVID-19, uh, many would say that Malaysia would have transformed much slower towards e-learning. Alright, as the final and most important part, we will now discuss on the ways to improve e-learning and the way forward. Okay, this is very important because personally, I think we are still struggling with COVID-19, and with the new emergence of variants, stronger variants such as Omicron, maybe we will have to adopt PDPR, full PDPR again after this. Okay, alright, let's take a look at the first one. First, to increase device ownership for learning purposes, initiatives to make them more accessible should be implemented. This could include providing grants for purchases of devices and setting up a device loan scheme similarly to the existing textbook loan scheme. Additionally, free devices can be distributed to students from low-income families and in an effort to close the digital divide. Okay. Another way is to incentivize families to purchase devices by using the tax relief mechanism. This one could be brought back, okay, so that each students can have more conducive e-learning at home. Alright, secondly, here, it is important to bridge communication between parents, students, and teachers for more effective e-learning. Okay, we know that e-learning needs a lot of assistance and cooperation for the parents as well. Okay, so teaching assistants or tutors can be assigned to help teachers, students, and parents. This can be done by engaging new graduates and other suitable participants to participate in school tutoring programs while addressing graduate youth unemployment at the same time. Alright. How to do this is each tutor can be assigned to smaller groups of students to whom they can dedicate more frequent and personalized attention. Thirdly, for a smooth and effective e-learning process, good internet connection is vital. It becomes more urgent now to ensure successful implementation of the National Fiberization and Connectivity Plan, especially to the suburban areas and rural areas at such as at the school that I'm teaching right now. Okay, other than that, telcos such as U Mobile, okay, Red Dot, or Maxis and Cellcom should consider providing additional free mobile data with no restriction at no additional cost in order to help our generations, okay, to help the teachers, parents, and students to cope with the current challenges. And lastly, streaming channels and TV can be better utilized as alternative tools to deliver mass lectures, as many teachers may not be able to conduct lessons effectively online all the time. Okay, alright. So now we can see that we have EduWeb TV, okay, Didik TV, and we have so many YouTube channels, okay, that caters to the need that we are facing right now. But another important platform to consider is actually radio. Okay, subjects which require less visual aids and more storytelling, such as history, can be effectively taught through radio channel. This would be helpful, especially for students in rural areas or without access to the internet. Okay. I think that's all from me. Alright, so I also put some references at the back, and that's all for our group. Thank you, and hope you learn or you can ponder on something from this presentation. Thank you.